That is great. That is great. Good. And then anybody else? Kathy and was there anybody else? Let me see. Is that everybody?
This is Nicole.
Nicole.
Yeah, I had quite a few students using them.
Good.
In my high school setting, my students with learning disabilities, those kiddos that really have a hard time taking notes and keeping up with notes and have anxiety about that, and I've had some good successes with that. And we actually just had a student come and talk to a training group that I had in our district, and it was really great. He was able to share his perspectives and how much it's helped him, and his mom even came too and kind of echoed his thoughts on it. So.
Well, good. Well, I'm going to skip one video because you all have so much experience here. If that's all right, it's the basics that you guys already know. So if anybody wants me to show the basics, let me know and I'll back up. But just to make sure everybody knows, I'm going to share my screen here. Sometimes people don't know so much about the computer part, so I'm just going to spend a couple minutes on this. Can you see my screen?
Yep, now we have it.
Yep. Great. Just in case anyone doesn't know, if you plug your smart pen into the computer, it does upload it, and instead of using the pen, you just touch on here.
This is how to get started with the smart pen.
And so it turns your paper into an interactive pen cast. So just in case people didn't know how to do that, it's very simple. There's a new smart pen coming out that actually makes it even easier. You don't even have to plug it in. I shouldn't say it's coming out, it's already out. So that one's pretty exciting. It works with Evernote. And basically, I've been using this for emailing teachers assignments, so we don't have to turn in the pen and things like that. So it's a really powerful second step. I don't advise using it until you've been using it for a while, but it's a really powerful thing if you work with it. So that's kind of just the pencast version. I want to show you some examples here now of ways that people have been using it that I've been working with, and just give you guys some ideas. Good morning. Here we are with superstar teacher Andrew Gilbertson. What do you do here at Bridgewater Elementary?
I'm an academic coach and a Title I teacher.
All right. What are you doing? What's our goal today?
We're trying to use the Smart Pen to increase student accuracy in reading.
All right. Can you show me how you're doing that with the Smart Pen?
Yeah. Typically I would sit down with a student working on a book that's well within their reading level, and I would simply have them read while I record with the pen and make some marks. So Deb, I'm going to have you read this right here.
And Deb is acting as the student today, is that right? Okay, all right.
Deb, I'm going to read. Go ahead, and as soon as you hear the beep, you can start.
Dinner one night consisted of lamb chops becoming heavy at times with occasional ketchup.
That was great, Deb. Now I'm going to have the student listen to their own reading and see if they can identify some errors that they made. So Deb is going to have the text right in front of her. She's going to take the pen and touch any of the marks, but at this one, the first mark, and it will read back to her in her own voice what she's just read. So Deb, I want you to touch right there. That's the first word you read.
Okay.
And then follow along and see if you can identify any words that you think you might have had trouble on.
Dinner one night consisted of lamb chops becoming heavy at times.
Heavy, okay. Let's stop. And you can actually just touch any of these. Find out where heavy is.
Chops becoming heavy.
Go ahead and put a circle around that one.
I didn't do that one right.
Okay.
Ketchup. Occasional ketchup.
I think that one wasn't right, huh, Deb? Okay, good. Great job, Deb.
Very cool. I can see that. Okay. So that just helps them have a little feedback and hearing their own voice, so it's not just you telling them it was wrong.
That's right, yep.
Very cool. How hard was that to learn how to do?
Took me about maybe 10 minutes to figure out how to use the pen and train kids in how to do it, but after that it was pretty easy.
Very cool. And what's the kids' reaction? What do they think about this?
It's interesting. I think it gets them, number one, while they're reading, they start thinking about what they're saying instead of just reading through it, so it really gets them in the mode of thinking about what they're saying. But it's also really been an eye-opener for kids that think they don't make any mistakes at all. and they come back and I say, you know, you said occasional here, and they said, no, I said occasional, and I said, well, let's listen to it. And so it kind of is that hard data that that gives them the proof that they need to improve.
Very cool. And are they a little more excited about the technology at first? Do they like that part?
Oh yeah, they love doing it. And even if, you know, even with kids that read 100% accurately, they really enjoy listening themselves read, and it gets them back to the text again, which obviously is something that we always want to do in literacy.
Very cool. Thank you so much for demonstrating.
Sure.
That makes sense. It was he was making hash marks when they were they were reading correctly, and when they were reading incorrectly. So he had his own data, but it was also just so they could hear it back to them. So does anybody have any questions on that one? Did it make sense?
So do a little bit of a recap of exactly what that process was.
You bet. They made it so that he would have the student read it out loud, and they just record what they were saying at that moment, and then he would put down hash marks, like a 1 for every correct word they'd say. He'd just mark 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then every time they said a wrong word, he'd make a circle. But the way he was using it, and then afterwards he had that data on the sheet just like he was using a regular pen. But when he would have the kids just listen to it exactly back, it wasn't like they were looking at the hash marks. But for him, he could touch the 0 and he could hear the word that they said wrong.
Got it. Anyone have questions about that process? Okay.
I actually never thought of it that way, using it as kind of a running record, I guess, type of thing. It's interesting.
And that's the fun part about this smart pen, is it's all according to your creativity. You don't have to buy another cartridge to do something else. It's all, you don't have to buy another app. It's all in how you want to do it. And so it's just so fun showing it to different people, and they have their own methods of what they like to do. And so then it becomes a whole different tool. And so that's the nice part about it. So that's why I just like to show little vignettes of, hey, here's a way they're using it, here's another way, and then it
Just
creates more options.
the superstar teachers here.
So, yep, all these videos you're seeing today, you will have access to, and you can show them to whoever you want. They're on YouTube, so I make them public, and you can look at them as much as you want. So, is my video frozen on my face, or?
It is. It did. It did
I'll turn
stop.
that off. That's okay. Don't need to look at me. I'm gonna start up. I'm gonna share my screen again,
Okay.
and we'll go to the second video.
Want to give a little introduction about this one?
Yep, you bet. So what we have here is a student that has a difficult time getting words down on paper. And so what they used the smart pen for was to have the students use the pen. And so instead of, in the old days, we used to have to write down things in pencil in a rough draft, and then we would put it in pen for our final draft. And so they kind of, instead of having them write it down in pencil, they would verbalize his answers and put it on this notebook, and then later he would go to the computer and he'd type out what he wrote. Or what he said, I'm sorry. So he would listen to what he said sometimes, and sometimes he had just gone through the process of verbalizing it, and that was enough where he could remember it and type it out. And it was a little more complicated because he would do his rough draft with one teacher, and then he'd go to another room and he would take that work and work on it with another teacher, because it was kind of like there was a reading specialist and there was a special ed teacher, and they kind of collaborated, and they did a great job. They had this student use co-writer as well. So they kind of, there was a lot of that integration of two different people in that teamwork. So,
Okay.
So here we go.
Here we are at Bridgewater Elementary School in Northfield, Minnesota, talking to a couple of superstar teachers here. Carlene Sherman, special education teacher, and Rebecca Patterson, Read 180 teacher, talking about how to use a smart pen for students that have a difficult time writing.
We have a student that we share who has a writing disability, which makes it very difficult for him to spell when he's writing and to write a complete sentence. And then when he goes back to it, he's not sure what he's written, nor are we sure what he has written.
So we've been implementing the smart pen in our classrooms, both in Carlene's classroom and in my classroom. And in the Read 180 classroom, our student comes in and he uses the sticky notes in our Read 180 journal.
What does that look like? Can you show me that sticky note?
The sticky note is right here, and we actually put it on the page. And then the student is able to hit the record button and make a mark on the paper, record his thought, and then later come back and play it.
Here's where I record my idea, and then I can have it stored forever.
Very cool.
Our student then uses this information that he stored on the Smart Pen to come back later and listen to it and use word prediction software on a laptop and write down his thoughts in writing.
So instead of having to have a teacher talk his ideas out to him, he just listens to his own verbal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and he was very successfully able to create a paragraph using this model not very long ago.
And before we used any of this assistive technology, when he just independently wrote something down, he was about at 36% accuracy for grammar, spelling, legibility, things like that. Since implementing the Smart Pen and the word prediction software, he's able to independently write a paragraph in my room with 97% accuracy.
Very cool. And what's he feel about this? Is it hard to get him to do it?
He is so motivated by it, and he's excited to have his own Smart Pen and asks for it every day.
Very cool.
Motivated.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So did that one make sense?
Sure did.
So we're kind of looking at all the ways to, that one I think is the most powerful one. I think it's just so many options are available to do. So that's the one I'm most excited about. Just when I was looking at that, it reminds me of, I've had a teacher, who was at Matt, you were asking a little bit ago, different ways to think about it. Another way I've heard about it used is, I've had teachers, they have like an hour-long discussion in a high school class, and they've already had a sheet with, like, she'll have all their names, and then she'll put hash marks next to their name every time they make a comment, so she can go back and say, so-and-so hardly talked, that's why they got a C. And then later on, and it worked well for her, because then now students came back to her and they'd say, well, I talked a lot more than that, and now she can touch the marks next to their name and say, here's what you said. There's nothing else that you said. And so it's like, there's so many different ways that I never even think of, but if you can just take what you already do, and you can run Smart Pen paper through the copier, and it'll produce your form, or you can stick that Post-it note on there like they do, and you can adapt almost anything on the fly. So it's kind of such a flexible way to do it. So does anybody have any thoughts on that one from the written expression one there?
Yeah, actually, I've used it in staffings as well, of course, with parent permission. But I've actually recorded my staffings, IEP meetings. I'll read, or I'll print the IEP on the paper, take it to the meeting, record it, and this way when I'm going back, type in parent comments or update the IEP, all that discussion is right there. So in case I forget something or whatnot, I've got that recording.
Matt, so you print the IEP on smart paper?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. That's great.
Again, I do get permission ahead of time because
Sure.
it is one of those things that we need to protect. But I've done it on several occasions. Yes.
And have you ever had parents say, nope, don't do it?
I never have.
Okay.